Welcome to You Matter in Business. Your hosts today are Ariel, me, and Miriam.
Your heart, your brand story, and your success because you matter in your business.
Welcome back to You Matter in Business. My name is Ariel Faith, and I am a brand photographer. And I help people with their messaging get clear and simple marketing strategies through the Story Brand Framework. And with me today is Miriam, a life coach and a wonderful human being. She's smiling and laughing, but she is. This I know.
Thanks, Sarah.
And we are going to talk to you today. We have done 3 episodes. This is the third on social media and the different platforms and how to use it as a business owner or not use it as a business owner. We get to make the decision. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. Are you ready?
I'm always ready to talk about LinkedIn.
I know you're thrilled. I know this is your favorite platform of all times. That is not true. Okay, so LinkedIn is often called Facebook for professionals. It's like a term some people use, but how does the audience mindset and behavior actually differ?
Okay, so LinkedIn. Okay, so I do most of my work on Facebook. Just it's that's just my preference. I just like the interface better, and I think I fit the demographic there, so I probably feel at home there. LinkedIn is the users have a distinctly professional mindset. And so when they are interacting, or when we are interacting with LinkedIn, we're looking more for industry insights and trends. We're looking for maybe professional development opportunities, definitely business connections and partnerships. And this word, and I don't know, this is something that I've only recently, perhaps in the last year, come across, thought leadership content.
Yep.
So unlike Facebook, which tends to be personal and casual content, and that tends to dominate that platform, LinkedIn, they expect things that add professional value. So they're more likely to engage during business hours, strangely, but they are. And they appreciate longer and more detailed posts, which gives them some kind of educational value. And so you can be much more the guide on LinkedIn because people are expecting you to be the expert in whatever you're saying. That doesn't mean to say you can't say, I had a professional breakdown, I got through it, this is how I did it. So you don't necessarily have to not put, in fact, they like your story to be in there and your development and your professional development. So they're not looking for family photographs, which is much more about, the Facebooky, Instagrammy thing. They're not looking for stupid reels or video content of you doing something stupid. It's very much more a professional level platform. And that's the way you need to act when you are on there. Very less, unless you're like paying for an advert and it specifically is an advert, they're not looking for you to sell to them. What they want you to do is to add professional value to them. You become the expert, the guide, the authority in things, and that's where you sit on LinkedIn, which is great. Apart from, and this is where I have problems with it, there's a lot of people pertaining to be experts that aren't. And that's where I find difficulty with it because not everybody, that's a lie. I think people are on there faking it till they make it. And that's where I find it difficult. So that's just my own personal opinion about LinkedIn. I think there's a lot of falseness on there. And that's why I don't like it particularly. Now, there's falseness on all the others as well.
100%. 100%. In fact, I think there's probably more because on Facebook, you can completely change your face with video filters. So you look 20 years younger.
Yeah.
And then you meet the person in real life and you're like, oh. Anyway, own it. I got wrinkles. Get over it.
But so some of the content that you would put onto Facebook and Instagram isn't appropriate for LinkedIn. Now, you can do it the other way round. I think you could do it the other way around. The content that you put on LinkedIn, you can also put onto
Yeah, I
Facebook,
agree with you.
Instagram. I don't think, in fact, I know it doesn't work the other way.
Yes.
So if I'm taking if I'm videoing myself jumping into the swimming pool and my underwear comes off, that works on Instagram. You'll get a great following on Instagram. It's not going to work on LinkedIn. And you are going to lose your professional authority if you try to do it in the other direction.
Yes.
So if you're going to try and perform, dance on each of those platforms, do it one way, don't do it the other.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. You mentioned something interesting about Facebook that I want to add to, not Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. Sheesh. LinkedIn. When LinkedIn began its infancy, I remember being on there because I was searching for work. I was looking for other companies that I could maybe send my resume to. You would put your resume up there. And it is a job search engine. That is what it was built from. So it's very much about connecting workers with places, businesses with those who need it. So it is very much about those business connections. And you can follow someone on LinkedIn and you can connect with them. It's a little harder to connect. You have to actually look for the button. But that is what you want to make, is connections, not just followers. It's different. You want more connections on LinkedIn than you want followers. I'm just digging back into LinkedIn because it's been years. I had my other business on there when I was actively pursuing marketing, my drafting and my design, my residential design. But I couldn't figure out how to get back into that account, so I have to get rid of that one. So anyway, because apparently you're not allowed to have two. So I need to fix that before they kick me out. But it's very much, what's interesting about LinkedIn is there's a lot more lurkers. Do you know what a lurker is?
Someone that hangs around with misintent.
Okay. Well, in the internet world, it's somebody who hangs around that doesn't engage.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So because it's a search engine, if somebody is searching for something, you are much more likely to be found on LinkedIn than any other platform. This moment, that may change in 5 years, that may change in 10, because the more businesses are realizing that the other platforms, they're not getting the reach they got 5 years ago, more people are moving over. So it is really, we're right at a critical time for LinkedIn becoming a very powerful work tool. But again, you got to learn how it thinks and what it wants. And everything you said was on point. It's all about connections. It's all about sharing and engaging. So you literally have to commit to spending time talking to people, making a comment on their post. And it's not just, oh, that was nice. It's, oh, I really liked point A. This was very helpful for me. Or, it has to be something of substance. So it's not just like an AI driven response.
And that's part of my issue as well, is that you can tell, I think, when people are using AI to do or even virtual assistants,
their auto response, 100%.
So you put up a post, someone puts, I really love this, and then it can even just repeat bits that you have commented, what you've put in your post, so that it looks as if they've read it and they've interacted with it. But actually, it's either a virtual assistant doing it for them, or it's AI. And that feels to me really uncomfortable, because it's not genuine, it's not authentic, and it's just not right. But what the thing is with LinkedIn, that's how you grow your community, is that you find other people that are saying things that are relevant to your own audience, and you comment on it, and then you find that people comment on your comment. They then try to interact with you, either become a connection or just follow you. But as you say, become a connection is the way you want to go. But then you get people DMing you and try to sell you things. And I don't like that either, because I don't want to buy from people the first time that I interact with them. So don't DM me and try and sell me something straight away. DM me, and I get people trying to build a relationship with me on there as well. hi Miriam, really liked your post. What do you think about such and such? And I'm thinking, I know it's not genuine connection. In 10 messages time, they're going to try to sell me what they want to sell to me. And I don't like that. So
we're going to actually, one of the people on our list to interview in the future is one of the women I met through DMs in LinkedIn. So there is a place for it, and there's a way to have a real conversation, but you can tell the difference.
you can.
You can tell the difference. And I think that, the more AI becomes the standard, you can use, you can have AI be smarter. So you have less. If you're not doing the brain work behind AI, you're making a mistake. You don't want to let it do all the brain work. You want to be the creative director for the team, and that just might be one of the members if you want to look at it like that. But you need to make sure it's the right voice, the right tone, it's saying the right things, because sometimes they lie. They make up statistics. They make up quotes. They do. I've seen them and I've called them on it. Is that real? Oh no, I fabricated that. Well, I only want real. Don't fabricate nothing in my world. So we're going to see more and more of that. And unfortunately, it's trained through the internet. So the more stupid stuff that gets out there because people aren't paying attention, the more lies will be perpetuated. Welcome to this world of insanity.
Indeed.
Anyway, so back to LinkedIn. What type of content helps establish authority without coming across as overly promotional? That's a good question.
It is a good question. So I think, and this is what I think people go wrong to start with, in that they do try to put their Facebook posts on there to start with until they've actually interacted with LinkedIn a lot, and they kind of learn, oh, actually, that's not what this platform needs. So it's posts where you can share lessons learned from business experience. So anything that, you kind of go, for instance, the other day when I was in a coaching session, this resonated with me, or this reminded me, those kind of things. Then it likes industry insights that's backed by data. So anything that you can give, you can show that you've done some research on this, and you can show where you got that information from, and it builds a story and makes you look as if you're an authority on something. Telling stories about your overcoming professional challenges. So, kind of like, I don't know, I was suffering from burnout, and this is what I found really helped. You might find this really useful for you too if you find yourself in the same situation, those kind of things. And the other thing, this is where I think LinkedIn really started, is that people celebrate their team and their own company achievements, or they're moving on to new places. And that's certainly where I thought that LinkedIn was originally, was, hey, I've just started at a new position as marketing manager and people then go, oh, congratulations. And there's a lot of, congratulate Miriam on 20 years at Richard Lander School or wherever. Yeah. Congratulate her. And that
she had an anniversary of this, and they you get notified, and then it's touch points that you make along somebody's journey, professional journey.
But definitely very much more 80% on providing value, providing education, providing, knowledge about something. And
which was part of my frustration with LinkedIn when I did that CAT test. I was in the middle of a challenge. We talked about this last week, but I was in a challenge, and the challenge was make an educational reel every day for, I forget how many days, it was 7 or something. So a group of us photographers literally posted a educational video every day that barely made it out of the gate. Nobody cared. And then I post a stupid cat video, and that thing went crazy. And it was just like, people aren't looking for, and again, it was a different beast back then too, but I don't think when they're sitting there looking at Instagram or TikTok, they're looking for entertainment. When you sit down to Facebook, you are looking for human connection. That's a fact.
Yeah.
When you are on YouTube, you used to look for entertainment, but I think now that's a much stronger educational platform. So that's a very good one. YouTube is a whole nother thing, but that's a very good one too, to use as a business. But I have noticed in LinkedIn, there's a lot more people doing small, short video clips of them, like interview style, or them, but it's educational.
Educational. It's much more professional. It's much more, yeah. I'm on LinkedIn because I want to grow my own knowledge and expertise, get something that I get from somebody else. The way that I think people then connect with you, you may well go, as a life coach, the aim is that I share my knowledge, my expertise, my authority, and then they go, I remember seeing Miriam on LinkedIn, and what she had to say was really intuitive, or she really resonated with me, and I'm looking for a life coach. I'm going to try her. And I think that's where it works. I think that's where the human connection, I think that's where it works, I think.
Yeah, it's more about business connections, because you go to a networking meeting, you go to the chambers, you go to BNI, you go to any of those in-person networking groups, right? And you do that with a purpose. You're not necessarily there to build best friends, even though that might be what happens, but but you're there to build business connections, right? And ultimately, obviously, the end goal is to maybe get one that you could work with, right? That's part of marketing, but it's also part of networking, because as a community, we all grow better. But LinkedIn to me is a much stronger business networking platform. That's kind of what it is. And you can get access to people. There's a better search engine in LinkedIn for business related searches. So, and they do use hashtags, but they don't recommend using many of them. We talked about that last time too. Just a few and very targeted. So,
yeah. So they say only 3 to 5 per post on that one. So not the 30 that you would use you could use on Instagram. It's 3 to 5 total max.
Yep. And that is one of the...
And very specific and very professional. It's all about being,
professional.
This site.
Yep, absolutely. It's kind of like an extension of a professional web page, right? You wouldn't put your, selfies all over your web page unless you were a professional selfie taker and you were going to take selfies for other people. I don't know. Teach them how to take selfies. I don't know.
I don't know that you can teach, but I
digressed.
I think that the thing is with LinkedIn is that actually when you are putting out your resume out there, your CV out there, a lot of places are and applying for jobs, they're now asking for your LinkedIn profile. So so you need to be on there posting.
If you're a professional,
you need to be showing that you're an authority in whatever field it is that you're looking for work or that you are currently acting. Because if you're looking to move on as well, employers are going to be looking at your LinkedIn profile and go, yep, she does know what she's talking about. Yep, that backs up what she's got on her resume, that that you do know what you're talking about, in a really professional way. Because if she comes and works for us, we want her to be doing that on LinkedIn, because it grows the authority of the people that you work for as well. Oh wow, she works for
blah blah blah. Yeah.
Google or whatever, and she knows what she's talking about. We want her working for us because she knows what she's talking about.
Just take a moment for a slight interruption. We wanted to share some exciting news.
Exceptional women professionals often struggle to communicate their expertise. Rediscover, refine, rebrand women's retreats provide a transformative, intimate experience that help clarify your unique identity, so you are self-confident and courageous, stand out in your industry, and enjoy effective marketing.
Join us on one of these retreats. Go to arielfaith.com and choose your date that fits your schedule. Reserve your exclusive spot with a simple deposit, and then enjoy tailored planning tips and details from us to get ready for this inspiring experience. In the meantime, if you can like, share, and comment on this podcast, we'd appreciate the love. Thank you. The other thing that's kind of interesting about LinkedIn that I recently learned was besides it being a place that people are looking for other employees, because you sometimes can get offered jobs through there too, because they'll say this was a match and this is a match, and you can set that up so you don't want to be like, I'm not up for hire. So, and you can put in so there's ways of being kind of like displaying the fact that you're looking for work and displaying the fact that you might maybe not. So there's ways of being a little bit more visible on that platform. But the one thing I thought was kind of interesting is you'll see carousel looking things on LinkedIn but you can't really like post one. And it's kind of like, how are they doing it? And I learned the secret to that, and it was kind of cool. So when you are posting on LinkedIn, you'll see some of the posts have kind of a carousel, one picture after the other. So there's usually a story. It's like a little mini PDF almost that is telling a little bit of a educational snippet. Those are done by making a PDF. So you print, like from Canva, you print to a PDF, and you use a web-friendly PDF because you don't want it to be the print-friendly PDF. And it will turn the PDF into individual pages in that series. So it'll turn it into a carousel looking thing. It will turn it into a carousel to the other platforms.
Okay, because on Canva, one of the templates, or there is a template for Instagram, there is a template for Facebook, and it puts it in the right number of pixels in the right direction. But there is a LinkedIn carousel one on there as well.
Interesting. And I think and I haven't looked, I should have, but I have not had a ratio problem on LinkedIn. I shoot in 3:2. That's a ratio, 3 inches by 2, and it can just be blown up bigger and bigger, bigger. So that's the standard full frame ratio, camera ratio. But Instagram likes 4:5. So that means the top or the bottom, something's going to get chopped out of that picture, which is, I now shoot thinking about that. I have the lines like they show up. I literally shoot thinking about that is just extra in the image. So I can, if necessary, get rid of it. But it's very frustrating when you shoot this gorgeous landscape. Doesn't seem to have a problem. It'll do a full landscape and not cut it off, but anything portrait, it will cut off. Anything that's, vertical versus horizontal, it will chop to the 4:5.
Interesting.
You're frustrated, but I have not found that problem on LinkedIn. So, and I know, this applies to Instagram too, but your profile on LinkedIn is super important. What you put in it.
Yeah.
Because it's searchable.
Yeah.
And in Instagram, the only thing that's searchable is your username. That's one tagline that's searchable. A lot of people will put their name in there. That is not the thing you want in there. You want the searchable words to be found. So you have to kind of learn how the program searches. And your profile on LinkedIn, the individual data you put in your profile is really important for search, for use the searching keywords and all that fun stuff. So that it's rich.
Their SEO strategy includes industry relevant keywords. I was looking at this earlier, so thank you for bringing it up. Industry relevant keywords in your headline and your about section.
Yes.
Creating original articles using the LinkedIn publishing platform. And I'm not really very familiar with the LinkedIn publishing platform, but maybe I need to get to do that. But creating original articles in there. Maintaining consistent posting schedules 3 to 4 times a week.
Which is less than all the others, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they expect
not as hungry.
Job.
Right. They'd rather have quantity over quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, using the hashtags, but strategically, and they like 3 to 5 per post, but quality ones.
Right.
Completing all, as you've just said, your profile sections, including recommendations. And recommendations are like testimonials, and there's a whole section on them. They're really difficult to find your own flipping recommendations, but they're on there. But people can search on those, and they're key as well. See how many people can recommend you, a bit like a Google, what do they call them? A Google review. That's what the recommendations are like.
But isn't it a LinkedIn review rather than a Google review?
Yeah, it is. It's a recommendation, but they call them recommendations. So on LinkedIn, you can send them a link. You can send links to people to say, can you leave me a recommendation? And you can review it before it goes on your page. So if you don't like it, you can not use it. but you send them
Unlike
a link.
Google.
Yeah, you can send them a link. They write the recommendation. It then comes back to you. You can then put add to my profile, and it then adds it. So, but it looks like a Google review. And then using alt texts on your images, so you can actually label them, and then creating original documents and presentations which you share. So that is the SEO for LinkedIn. Those things are the most important things on LinkedIn, and that's what
I'm going to add to your SEO on your images. And this is something that hardly anyone does this. Hardly anybody even knows this. I don't know why more people don't do this, but the name of your image that you put on your website, is it image 1, 2, 3, 5, 8? What is the name on your the images of your website? What should they say?
You've told me this, so I know that they're searchable. So I always put Miriam Richardson, enriched life coaching, and then anything else that I can think of that might bring that up on a search engine. So overwhelm into opportunity, or inspiring women, or those kind of things.
Okay. And you have to do it in searchable letters. So you don't want to use any capital letters.
Okay.
You have to use the dashes in between each word. Otherwise, it's seen as one word.
Interesting.
Have you ever seen those, you see them and they're kind of like, why did they name it that? That was but that's why they're doing it, because that image name is now part of the Google search. And LinkedIn is a high performer. Whatever is in LinkedIn is a much higher performer on a Google search than any of the other social media.
Interesting. So we need to all go.
It's much more. It's much more, and you can do it pretty simply in today's world. I can pretty much rename an entire folder of images by a right click, at least on a Mac. I don't know if it's easy in the PC world, where you just replace a couple letters with a whole, thing. So there's ways of doing that painful job less, or hire your VA to do it. But if you're not doing that, make sure you have your name in there, because it's all about personal branding. That stays with you forever. And then something that is in the search world, right? Could be the name of your company, could be what you're doing. It could be anything, but that's kind of the key there.
Interesting. That's really useful. Thank you for that. It's a good tip. And especially the dashes in between them. Yeah. Do you mean underscores, or do you mean dashes?
Dashes.
So I would call them hyphens, but let's go with that. Okay.
Well, hyphen, dash, same thing, kind of, sort of, but not really. You just made me question myself. So I'm gonna ask you another question, and while you're explaining the answer, I will do a little back scene. I am listening though, so just don't worry. Okay, so it heavily weights, and this is kind of what we just talked about, the algorithm heavily weighs personal stories and experiences. So how can they share their vulnerability while maintaining professionalism? That's a really good question, because I think there's a lot of people that are challenged with that. And we did talk about that. I don't remember if it was this episode or last, but that balance between the realism and the authentic self, and sharing that.
Yeah. And it's that allowing people to see that you've walked the walk and been there, and so you have an authority because it's something that you have already experienced, without breaking down into tears because you are in the middle of whatever pain point that person is looking for. So it's getting that balance. So I think the sweet spot for vulnerable professional sharing, is what I'm going to call it today, is sharing failures, but the lessons learned from them. And that's, so I'm always banging on about the fact that failure isn't failure. Failure is just a learning opportunity, and it's that learning the lessons from it. And so LinkedIn is really good for that. Discussing your work-life balance challenges, that's good on LinkedIn. They like that a lot, and giving people hints and tips. I do this, or I read something the other day that I thought was really good. This shared this, and showing those kind of growth mindset things that you can show them that you have a growth mindset, but also encourage it in other people as well. What about being open about business struggles and saying how you overcame them or how you intend to overcome them, or asking for people to share with me, how did you overcome this? That asking a kind of question on a professional level. I'm struggling with this. Has anyone got any hints and tips that they can share with me? That kind of thing, where you try to get people to engage with you and enter into a conversation, which means that you can then, go back with them and have those professional conversations. Acknowledge mistakes and just say how you fixed them. Because I think everyone on LinkedIn actually recognizes that when you're setting out in business, or even if you've been there a million years, you still make mistakes, but it's how you put them right that makes the difference. In advertising or marketing, they say there's no such thing as bad advertising. It's how you use it. So as a waitress, if you drop the food on someone's lap and then just laugh it off and do nothing about it, it's going to be shared. But how you overcome it will, and if you do that really well, then that will reach more people. So, and then show you the human side of the business journey. People like to see that they like to see that it's a personal thing to you. But so what I'm trying to say is, I think, frame your vulnerable moments within a professional context, include lessons learned and insights gained. And that, I think, will build your authenticity whilst maintaining credibility.
Yeah, 100%. And I heard recently somebody said, never speak about it if you're in the middle of the pain in a professional arena. So that would apply also to LinkedIn. So we all have pain, we all have problems, we all have things we have to deal with. So when you're in the middle of it, that isn't the time to share the lessons learned, because you're not on the other side.
Yeah.
You're not on the other side of the lessons learned. You might be learning lessons as you go, but you haven't gone beyond the pain. When you can talk about something without feeling the pain or re-traumatizing yourself, then you can talk about it. And literally, I mean, people do. They'll it's easy to do. You end up saying something a little too raw for somebody, and it ends up being a tear fest instead of. So I have to just quickly agree with you, and this is what I found on the SEO keyword naming.
Oh yeah,
so
good.
Just as a point of reference, and this is good to think about. So you would have, I'm going to use their example. It was keyword hyphen keyword hyphen keyword, and then the extension, which would tell them what kind of file it is. So PDF, JPEG, whatever the actual file is. So instead of I want my name in there because the name is the name of the business. It's also my personal brand. It's just something I want. When you type that in, I want to be the one that you see, because there are quite a few aerial face, which is shocking. And I don't want to be one that's associated with something bad, because there are a few of those too. But the keyword is what people are searching for. So it might not even be the name of your company. It could be, because they're not going to search for the name of your company if they don't know you. They're going to search for a life coach. They're going to search for a solution. So thinking about the keywords from a even file naming standpoint, when you're working on Instagram, all of them, it's, use this to your advantage. And then your alt text, some people say that's dead. I don't believe it is. I think it still is strong and alive. Make sure that has keyword rich content in it. Again, what are the words people are searching? What are
So just for my information, so that I get it right as well. So you say keyword hyphen dash keyword dash keyword, and then the dot PDF or whatever it is. So keyword, how many? Just 3, or can there be as many as you like?
There is a limitation of the length of some things for some computers, so you have to kind of try not to tail it too long.
Okay.
But you could have, maybe 5 to 6, 7, 8, something like that would be fine. You start getting longer, you start getting in trouble with the length of it.
And for me, life hyphen coach or life coach hyphen something else. Or, so what do I do? Because people are going to search for a life coach, 2 words, but what does it look for? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
You want the 2 words to be separated by that hyphen.
Okay. So if they search for life, I might come up. If they search for life coach, I might come up.
Or coach,
Or
you
coach,
might come.
I might come up. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
each word should be separated with a hyphen so that it's more rich with keywords.
Good.
Okay.
Good tips, Mrs. Faith.
Yes. And people will get my files. They will see that I have made them my friendly for my SEO. And then some people will change all those names, which I don't mind them adding to it. But when they take the photographer off the image in a commercial world, did you do that too?
I think I may have done that. I may have to go back and put them off.
Okay. I'll forgive you.
Okay.
What
All
are
right.
friends for? It's called grace, right? No, but if you're buying commercial photography that's been licensed as a commercial piece of photography, you have to make sure you don't take it's still in the metadata no matter what you do, because we make sure of that. So it's still in the file. If somebody wants to look, they can see it because they're copyrighted. But that's just a legal thing. When we're dealing with personal pictures, nobody even cares or thinks about this stuff. But when you're dealing with commercial images used to make money, it is a commercial endeavor. So it does have different laws around copyright and all that fun stuff. So just a thing to remember.
Interesting. Good. Okay. Right. So is there anything else we need to tell
Leave
them
my
about?
name in. That's all
Okay.
you gotta do.
As long as it's not in any cursive. Anyway, so anything else? Anything else that we need to tell them about LinkedIn?
You see, we talked about optimize your profile and content discoverability. We talked about that with the SEO conversation. Unique features like showcase pages, employee advocacy, and how relevant those are with small business owners.
I think these are things if you're really getting deeply into LinkedIn and optimizing it. So it's things like making sure you've got your company page. So you've got a personal page, but you also need to have your company page and they can be linked.
Yeah.
Should be linked. Creator mode, that enables following rather than connecting. I'm not high up on that one, so I'm not I'm not going to be able to explain that unless you can. But there is a thing called creator mode. LinkedIn Live, so that's same as Facebook Live, same as Instagram Live. You can do lives.
Yeah.
But people use them more for things like workshops so they're not just showing themselves walking down the street, having a cup of coffee with friends. It's very much okay. We're doing
a workshop.
Yeah, sign up to this. That can either be free or you can actually, pay for it or whatever. But but you can do it live, and the platform that you're using is LinkedIn. And then there's a newsletter feature apparently, which I am not familiar with this one either, which builds consistent audience engagement. I'm not aware of what that is or how you go about that one. And they tend to be, I think, more relevant to larger businesses with multiple product lines than probably with me. But yeah.
I think you can actually almost use it as a mini website in a sense that you can put your products on there. You can, you could do all that if you choose to.
Yeah.
I need to get people on the phone. I need to create curiosity so they talk to me, because that's the magic in the solution. If I don't have the solution for you, I'm not going to try to sell you, right? That's just not the way I am. So it's very important that I have a conversation to see what you need and how I can fit into that need, or even if I fit into that need. So for me, conversations are very important for my business to thrive. So I don't necessarily want to put all that data out there. I might put general information. They can always go to the website for the more in-depth information. Because again, I think build your website out, make that solid. Then use that data as an extension to go into social media. If you have a blog post, put it on you're writing an article, put it on your blog first. Then post it as an article on LinkedIn, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So you're building your own house up and then extending it to these other network groups.
And the other thing you can do that too as well, and I've seen this on lots of people that I follow, they will send out an email, like a regular email blast, which includes a load of information. And then they will take bits from that email and use it to make a post on LinkedIn. Not necessarily all of it, but they will take certain essence of it and expand on it in LinkedIn. So you can connect all of those different things that you're using to reinforce your message and get to a wider audience than just your email list. You can then use the same information without having to reinvent the wheel again and put it onto LinkedIn. And nobody cares. Nobody says, hold on a second, I got an email from him and he's saying the same on LinkedIn. You know, how boring is he? And actually what they're saying is, that's reinforcing that message in my mind. I've now seen it in two different places and he really does know what he's talking about because. So
how many times did you see a Reese's peanut butter cup commercial before you tasted one?
I've never tasted one. I don't like them.
Are you serious?
I don't actually know whether I like them or not because I've never tasted one. I've never tasted one because I don't think I'm going to like them, even though I like chocolate and I like peanut butter.
Oh my God, you're in trouble.
The two together make me physically vilely sick. I can't even think about having the two together. Ugh. It's like salted caramel. Sorry, don't like salted caramel.
Me either. I don't like salted caramel. Blah, blah, blah.
Sweet and a savory put together. No, but Reese's, no, never had it. Cadbury's cream egg, however, every single day of the week.
Oh my God. You know what's so funny is I have the same reaction that you have to a Reese's, to a Cadbury egg.
No way.
Yes, I cannot eat them. They literally, it reminds me of a raw egg and that I can't get past it.
But Cadbury's cream egg, so that the advert in the UK, sorry, we've gone well off LinkedIn now, aren't we? I'm sorry.
We have.
I do apologize.
It is about advertising.
So the advert in the UK for Cadbury's cream egg is how do you eat yours? And then they go through the entire different ways that people eat their Cadbury's cream egg. Some of them shove it straight in their mouth. Some take the top off. Some like put their tongue in and lick out the inside and left with the outside.
Getting sick just thinking about it.
I haven't seen one since I came to the US.
Really? Easter time they come out.
Oh, come on. Easter eggs are on the shelf even before Christmas Eve is over.
Well, that's true, but that's when you'll see the Cadbury eggs.
Anyway, I think we're done with LinkedIn as well, aren't we?
Oh, but we have something to say. And I think this will add to our discussion today. And it will enrich it. And she might correct us in a few ways, which we are perfectly fine with. But we're going to bring a very young woman who's doing some incredible work as a young professional. I'm not going to tell you too much about her, and I'm going to let you pronounce her name because I'm just not good at that. But next episode, we're bringing an interview for a woman who's on LinkedIn. She has a very strong presence on LinkedIn. She's very effective on LinkedIn. So we're going to tap into her brain for maybe 1 or 2 weeks and see what this young woman who is incredibly intelligent, intuitive, and she's very kind and giving, which is really nice to see.
She's a lovely young lady and she's called Megan Schernhofer. So if you can find her on any of the internet platforms, but definitely on LinkedIn, she's a mover and shaker in the leadership world, and that's what her presence is on LinkedIn. And she definitely knows how to use it, how to optimize it, and yeah, have a look out for her. But yeah, we're going to interview her next week, find out how she got to where she is, what makes her tick or drives her, and how she uses the various platforms, including LinkedIn.
Just like the rest of us, she has a lot of things she had to fight through to get to where she is. Yeah. Negative junk, and she's just done a really good job of handling that through the years. So it's going to be very insightful. Very insightful. And maybe, so there's some younger audiences that might resonate with that because, us old people, they tend to discard as well, whatever, we do actually kind of know what's going on, even though they don't know it. So that is the end of that. And we will look forward to seeing you again next week with Megan and letting the audience know we will be back with more good stuff for you.
Awesome. Good to speak to you, Ariel.
You too. Bye.
See you next episode. After all, it is your brand, your story, and your success, because Ariel and I know you matter in your business.
Thank you for listening to the You Matter in Business podcast. Please follow, share, like, and comment. We would love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Ariel Faith Photography and Enrich Life Coaching. The show notes provide more information on how to contact Ariel and Miriam and any guest speakers who share in our journey together.